All right, Michael, what are we doing today?
All right, we are back on the Torana again, and today we're doing something that we found out we need to do through you guys, through the comments, because throughout this whole build, dropping this LS into this car, a lot of people have been saying, are we going to be putting a chassis strengthening kit into it, or a subframe connector? And this whole time we're all like, we don't know what that is. I've never heard of that before. We've never dealt with Toranas, and turns out they're a pretty big thing in the Torana world, and what it basically is, got a subframe up front, and then it goes, that subframe then connects directly to the body just behind those front wheels. And then it is the body that is the main chassis of this. It's got these pissy little chassis rails that run through it. It's just press stamped steel that runs down. We'll show them in a minute about how thin they are. And then it runs to the diff. And what we're hearing is the biggest issue with that is you put any sort of horsepower into these things, the whole bodies start to twist because those two frames don't talk to each other. Front and rear, they're not connected. So what a lot of people do, and you can buy kits of these, they connect the front subframe to the rear diff mounts and strengthen it all up to avoid that chassis twist. So that is what we're doing today. We're going to be putting some fairly big chunky steel in this thing to basically hold the front end to the rear end. And we have no idea how we're going to do it. We're just going to have a crack and see what happens. We've got some big chunky steel, and if there's one thing that we know we're good at, it's making brackets. So this is just one big massive bracket. The biggest bracket we've probably ever made, Nathan. We're not going to try and reinvent the wheel here. We've seen many kits around and how they do this. Copy that thing because it seems to be what everyone does and what everyone works, and we are so unfamiliar with anything like this. So let's sort of give you a rundown of what we're trying to do. All right, so the basic idea of this is you can see how this is where the front chassis or front subframe ends, and this is where our rear driveline begins, and in between all this is this really light stamped steel, and this is the only real chassis. It's not like a HQ where the chassis is actually a proper steel frame that runs all the way back to here. It ends right up there, and then this is just some stamped steel, which...
Is this what they call a unibody?
Yeah, it's like a unibody.
Yeah, I think it's called a unibody.
Or a semi-body.
But either way, it is that hurt. You're relying on 1.2 sheet metal from there all the way back to here, and what usually happens with a car like this, and when you put a little bit of power into it, you will slowly see your door gaps opening up and your body lines not lining up anymore. Not that this car has a body line that's straight on it.
The basic idea of this, what we're trying to do is we get this big nice chunky bit of steel here. It's going to sit on this side of the original chassis. Up there, it should go flat with the floor to about here, and then if Nathan, my lovely assistant, can grab that piece.
You need to move your bar because otherwise they can't see.
Well, there's a thing in the way. That goes like that.
And then mine's gonna go something like that.
Yeah. And it then gets bolted to that member, and it gets bolted up here as well too. It ain't pretty. It's ugly. But it's something that is a necessity, and we got to do it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have a crack at that. All right. Do we know what we're doing?
We're just going to get that main bar in first and then work off that.
The one that runs along the chassis, basically. The one that runs along the main frame.
Yeah. I'm going to pull the subframe bolt out because we need to run it past this bolt because then it goes up there. So I need to pull that out so we can sit it flat against it. Dainty wheels. Alright, there we go. So, that is...
Very satisfying, isn't it?
So, that is now up against like that. So now what I need to do is I need to look at the photos so then I can see where I've got to cut this off and where I've got to cut this off, because this half through this tube at the top. So what we need to do is we need to notch out and put like a thick bit of tube, because then this bolts through this as well. So that's the tricky part of this, to be honest. I really need to notch that first actually and put that tube in so then I can bolt this in, and then I'll do my bit from up there, because if I cut and weld that part on there, it's going to be harder to get in to put that tube.
I got some reference photos. Here you go.
Alright, cool, thank you. I'm working on this front section here, so I've figured out how I'm going to do it all. I'm going to cut the steel now and then I'll notch that out. I want to have a bolt going through the tube, and then I want to put the steel right up, and then I want to tack it with it in. Because this bolt goes through quite a lot, it's got to be lined up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It can't be twisted, because otherwise it's going to be a nightmare. So,
well, do you want me to work on a bolt?
Yeah, if you can find a bolt that's going to be super long.
Question,
Yeah.
is that big enough for the bolt?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Mate, come on. This ain't my first rodeo.
Oh, I was just checking.
Yeah, that needs a lot more. So I reckon it's gonna go straight through that. Hey, that's mine.
All right, how are we looking?
We're looking really good. So I've got it notched out. I've got it pressed hard against the floor right now. So that's gonna go like that. That bolts to the back of the subframe. So I'm gonna shove a bolt down it. I can put a tack there, and I reckon I can put a tack on the back, or I can put a tack at the top. But then I can start working from that and cut that on an angle. I can start building that up. So let's see if this bolt will go through. This is just some gull bolt that Michael had laying around. I think it hits the chassis, this bolt. Not the chassis,
lined up.
The steel. It doesn't want to go unless we, let me grind it to a point, see what happens. Those threads are just that touch too big. Nah.
Pass it here. I'll put it on the lathe. I'm serious, I'll put it on the lathe. I'll turn it down. So the original bolt is an Imperial and it's 11 mil. These are 11.5. But I think it's 12 mil here.
That's getting stuck on it though.
12 mil there.
Yeah. I mean, I could have done it in 5 seconds with an angle grinder, but...
Michael also wants to have a good day too. It's not all about you.
Go there for now. Daniel's making a mess. Nice. Machinist! The reason we're putting it through the lathe is because that way you can still use the thread.
Alright, see if it goes through.
See if it goes through. Watch it not go through.
Alright, hold this. So that tube's just tacked it in with the bolt through it now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this piece that comes up here. I'm cutting a 45 in that piece, and I'm going to see where it ends up here. Or even if it wants 45, I don't even know. And then I can build that piece, and then that's where I'm going to go on this side. I'll go to the other side, get the other side to the same level. Then I can make the plate that goes up here. Daniel's making these plates that hug the bottom of the rail. He's bending them at the moment.
Do you reckon this is the biggest bit it's bent so far?
Easily, yeah.
This is the smaller one of the two. So I need to go a little bit more, but it definitely is bending it, so go a little bit more on that. Yeah, did good. So probably gone the tiniest bit too much, but only about a little bit, otherwise it's pretty good.
Effing nailed that. I've got to chop
He's
it
humble. He's a humble
somewhere
bloke.
around there. I don't know. I've got to look at the photos.
It's doing it pretty easy.
Yeah. Like you said, you can't. So we preheated the metal up this time because it was stretching the metal a little bit too much last time. It started splitting on the edges, which now it's not.
Yeah, that was good.
So probably bend it just a little bit more than that. It's just under 90.
And that's it. I am not drilling holes. That's someone else's job.
I'm guessing that's me.
What's going to be 13? The bolt's 13, so probably just a tiny bit bigger than 13.
Now just use a step drill on each side to get to probably 14 mil, or even 12, and then we can drill out a little bit bigger.
Alright, this is where we're at. I'll put this back on. I actually cut this off. Just kicked it on a bit of an angle inwards because this plate needed to make up that distance there. There. So that's all tacked in now. that's tacked in. This just bolted up there. Literally all just tacked in. Michael's figuring out how to drill these holes and get them lined up. And just cut them down to sit like that. So that'll get welded along there and it'll bolt right through. So yeah, getting there.
I'm trying to get the bolts that are going to go through this chassis member here. And the issue is we need to get this lined up really nice and snug. We don't want to have anything really loose. So this bolt, I need to get centered like into there. And if I put a drill bit, as you can see, we can't get in there with the drill because this is in the way. And even if I got the drill bit in there, I can't get in there and there's nothing to say that I'm going to get a square or in the concentric to this hole here. So what I've done is I got on the lathe again and I machined this up. Can you see that?
The tiny little ball on the top.
Yeah. So I machined this 13mm shaft and I put a little tiny nub on the end, and all I'm doing is using this as a center punch because this locates in both sides of this wall. See, it's loose, but then once it finds its home, right there, can't go anywhere, hit it with a hammer. Hopefully that's going to give me a center mark that now I can drill a hole out and it'll be perfectly concentric to the whole of this. And then we somehow have to translate that to the other side, which means I probably need...
Why didn't you do a bigger spike?
Oh, you mean spike as in this?
Yeah.
Why I didn't do a big spike? Because if I did a bigger spike, then by the time it comes through here, I wouldn't be able to get that centric.
Ah, fair enough.
So I'm using the width of the wall.
Yeah.
It can't be longer than the width of the wall, otherwise it won't go centric.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it has to be tiny, like that. Let's see if there's a dot, mate, otherwise I'm going to put it back up.
Oh yeah. It's a baby dot. It's a tiny dot. Is that the dot? I don't even know actually.
I think that's the dot.
No, that's the dot.
Oh, great.
Hang on. Oh, I don't know. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's it there. Put a shadow on it. Shadow.
There we go.
Here, quick, punch it while we've got it.
Where's the punch?
Alright. Next one.
Let's go hunting. It's somewhere here.
Oh, there. Yeah. That's it there.
What do I do? Do I send it or do I put it back in or just send it?
It's only steel, mate.
I reckon just send it, eh?
Maybe put it back in. It'll take 5 seconds.
Oh, bang on, mate.
What in the higgamajigger have you built?
What have I built? My own drill bit.
Wow.
So I need to get a reference now on this side. Ah, I got that dead on and that was sharp.
Ooh.
Turns out all I could have done is point the other side of the chassis. I would have got dead on. So I need to get a hole on the other side of this chassis, and because it's so far away, we can't afford to have it tilted up or tilted down because then our bolt won't go all the way through. A drill bit won't work either because that was too loose and it wouldn't locate. So, Jesus, I'm bleeding a lot. So I made this jigger up. And the reason why I made this jigger up is because this is the same size as the bolt that we're going to use. And I just press fit a small little drill bit in the end of that. So that we can at least get a mark on that side, then we can drill that out and put a crush tube in it. There we go. That actually worked pretty well. And then we're going to put a crush tube in it, we're going to weld a crush tube in place, and then we should be able to bolt this in and keep moving. That is really bleeding, it won't stop.
A real gusher.
Yeah, it's a real gusher. It really got me.
Is that a Simpsons reference or something?
No, that's a Hot Shots, which I'm guessing you don't know either. Look at that, it took a whole... That's deep. Alright, where are we at?
We're crushing it. Daniel's cut the crush tubes that's going to go through here. So he's going to just tack the backside in. Then we're going to pull this away, tack the front side of the crush tube in, paint it black, and then what we'll do is we'll bolt this up properly with that bolt done up there too. And then this is now in, but honestly, once these are bolted, we can continue making backwards. That's finished up there. So yeah, the back section is quite difficult. There's a lot of cutting and splicing and piecing everything in and plating, and so. But yeah, so we're getting there. We still haven't stopped for lunch yet, so we're gonna stop for lunch break. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a big job. This is definitely a big job. Buy a HQ, people. They've already has this bit.
You buy a Ford.
Another Ford, Nathan?
Another Ford? So yeah, I bought another car. You'll see it soon. I need to do a little bit before it comes here.
These are the crush tubes. They're going to get welded in now. Ooh! Now how the hell am I going to find that hole?
Just use your dicky thing again. Woo!
There we go.
Man, very good.
Michael's custom made 13 mil to 3 mil pilot hole drill bit.
Bro's not going to be able to leave the shed now. His head's too big.
Alright, what are we doing?
Alright, because this is getting close to being fully bolted in, we can start looking of getting the bar towards the rear trailing arms. So once Michael's going to drill out this, so then a bolt can go fully through, and then that's it.
Yep.
We know it all lines up, because with this, everything has to be welded with it bolted in the car.
It needs to be clamped up, yeah.
Because of movement and shit like that, because Michael's left 0 tolerance on the bolts.
Just tight.
So while it's in, I'm going to just notch out this like that, because then that's going to go like that, and then down to there, and then that gets cut on an angle, and then the plate goes up to that, and then there's another plate there, and then there's another plate there. So I'm just going to start working on this rear, figure out how I'm going to do it.
Oh, not bad. Have a look at.
It's looking really, really good, Michael. Oh shit.
What are you doing?
I'll show ya. I've got this section all trimmed out, notched into that. Follows the contours of this. So now this is the plate that goes to our lower control arm bracket here. This is going to beef it up. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting it.
Oh, that's the upright?
Yeah. So then it follows. So stitch a weld in along there, and then that bolt will go through this as well. So
yeah,
that works really well. Weld there. So this is the plate. This is all into there, and then I've boxed in the end. I'm getting Daniel to fold me a piece that's going to go up the end there, and this will be fully boxed in around. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make a plate that's going to go there, and we're going to bolt through the floor there as well. But that looks awesome.
that does look good.
I'm really happy with that. Oh, look at that. What a snazzy thing.
Like a glass. Okay, perfect.
That looks good.
I tell you what, if the other day was mini fab day, today's major fab day. Solid. Safety squid.
Big day. All right, so that's it. We pretty much actually got it done. We put in a massive effort, got it all finished up to the point where there's no more cutting and stuff anymore. Like, we've still got to fully weld it, still got to drill more holes, put more bolts through in some areas, but other than that, making this mess is over. So we really knocked it out. All of us, we all kind of went our separate ways and got stuff done.
We didn't get it finished today. I'll finish it sometime during the week. I think fully weld it and get it all bolted in, and I'll wrap up the end of the episode then for the finished result. But
yeah, this is our chassis bracing kit, or body tracing kit, whatever you want to call
don't
it.
ask us to make you one.
Yeah, don't. There's still actually a lot to do. There's a bit of work still to go.
Yeah, there's still some fiddly things to do, but the good thing is
It's
the
done.
major dirty work, because you can see, look at this is why we have a dirty area and why I hate having grinding stuff done out here, but today we had no choice. It had to happen, it had to be out here. This is just nature of the beast for this job. All right, well, it is a couple of days later now, and we are back on the chassis connecting kit. Nathan's working today, so it's just us, and all we really need to do is drill a couple more holes, put some bolts in that Daniel got now, and then fully weld it all up, paint it, throw it back in, job done. So we need to put a hole in here, which will bolt that through there, and we need to find our hole here for our lower arms as well too, which will locate this big plate, which is probably doing the bulk of the work. We're gonna try stitch weld it as much as we can in the car, because obviously the more we weld this, the more it's gonna bend, and this is something that needs to line up with the bolts almost perfectly. It might be to our detriment. I made it really, really tight on the tolerances of the bolts. My theory is that because this is supposed to be something that is strengthening the chassis, I don't want any flex in it. I don't want the chassis to be able to flex on the bolt holes, which is securing it together. I need it to be tight. It is really, really tight tolerances. Hopefully that doesn't bite us in the ass later. We'll find out when we go to put it in after it's been welded. But for now, let's get into it. This is the day 2 of Major Fab Day.
Yeah.
Major Fab Day. Probably go there. Lovely. I'm thinking we do these side ones now, Daniel.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe what if we put a rectangle plate on the other side?
Yeah, paint it.
Rather than just 2 separate washes?
Probably be better.
Yeah. So Daniel has cut the backing plates off now, so we're going to chuck these in. The inside of the frame up here. So now that that's done, pretty much all the holes are now drilled. So we're ready to fully weld it, essentially. So like we said, we're going to try to do as much as we can in the car, and then we'll pull them out and do the final welding outside. We'll probably do at inch lengths at a time, just to try and keep the temperature down and keep cooling as we go, because we do not want this thing to twist, because if it twists, trying to get these bolts to line up is going to be an absolute nightmare. Daniel asked, should we have a competition on who's the better welder in this situation? Now I said that's a little bit unfair because I've got the home ground advantage because I'm very familiar with this welder. Daniel has never used this welder before until this project. Daniel's used to this, what, a little like a 180 SIG?
It is a Unimig, but it's like a $400 Unimig compared to a good Unimig.
Is it a 180 or something like that?
I think it's 180,
Yeah.
It's tiny.
So, which is fine, the 180s work fine. I mean, you've seen some of Daniel's welds that he did on the Torana rotisserie mounts. They looked unreal, probably better than what I could even do with this. But this thing, the 250, when I bought this, I wanted to go big. I wanted to weld 10 mil plate if I had to. Not that I ever had to, but if I had to, I could. So it's a bit of a beast. So yeah, we'll see who ends up with the better side.
Bit of friendly competition.
I'm going to call driver's side.
Okay.
And you can do passenger side.
Are we going to leave it up to the viewers to choose?
Yeah, they can pick who wins.
In the comments?
This is scary. You never want anyone to judge your weld.
We happy? Alright. That's it.
Power stand activated. I would dare say that when Daniel uses his machine, he's probably a better welder than me at most times. Something that he's picked up really well over the time. Once you learn your machine, you really start to master that machine. Jumping on someone else's, it's always tricky, so we'll see how it goes. I'm sure he'll get the hang of it by the end of it. You happy with that?
I think that'll hold it in place.
All right, my side's done. We'll leave it up to the viewers what everyone thinks.
I reckon Michael's got it, to be honest. He's probably a bit more consistent with it.
Some of them are really good and some of them are pretty bad.
I reckon they're all pretty good.
I'm out of practice in some areas. So this is what the back looks like. So we stitched it to try and keep the heat down, so that makes it a little bit ugly just by design, but hopefully stop from warping. And looking at those plates, they look pretty good. They don't look like they've moved too much, which is good.
Yeah, mine looks the same. They don't look like they're pulled in or anything like that. So.
All right, well now Daniel's got to go, so now I'm the only one left doing all the work.
Yep.
Isn't that funny? All right, so our 2 members have been painted and they're now drying. And let them sit for a half hour or so before I go to put them in. In the meantime, what I'm doing is, see here on where the plate goes across here, which bolts into the lower arm, you can see there's an indent here where the bolt would normally go into, and because we have a flat plate going across there, we don't want to be pulling in and having this loose, and we don't want to have a gap in here, so what we're doing is we're going to put washers in here to make this height the same as that height, so it'll be nice and flush and tight. And to do that, I'm just going to weld these 3 washers together, as you can see there, and then weld it in place on the car. Alright, well our space is now in, and you can see it makes up that gap, so that should work fine. It's not pretty, but you're never going to see it, so let's move on, shall we? Well, they don't look like much. They look a bit odd, don't they? But that's it. That's what a chassis kit looks like in these things, so now it's time to throw it in and see if it still fits. The big question is, will it go back in? And how am I going to do this by myself? Well, that is it. Finally, it is done. What was, as Daniel called it, a half-day job has taken nearly 2 days to complete now. And to be honest, it always was. There's a fair bit of fabrication in that. Those members look fairly simple when you see them all finished, but to actually get to that stage took a lot of work, and to get it right and to get it snug just took a little bit extra time. But I'm glad we took that extra time, because I reckon we've ended up with a really nice product. These things are kind of inherently ugly. They don't look great, especially up near the wheel arch, but they're kind of a necessary evil. You sort of need them. They're more practical than they are good looking, and given that this thing is going to make a decent amount of power, and potentially in the future even more power and a lot of power, we figured it's better to do it now, especially after reading your guys' comments. So, and yeah, I'm happy with the result. I reckon Daniel's going to be stoked with it too. He hasn't seen it yet because he had to go to work, but it's all painted now, it's all in, and the plan will be, I think he wants to bully line it so you barely even notice it in place. So they will probably come back out at some point in time and get bully lined and then put back in. So hopefully they blend in even more, but all in all, I'm really happy with the result. And it was a good learning experience. We got to, you know, try a few different things, play with a few different tools. Fair amount of use out of the mill and the lathe, which is awesome, because I finally actually got to put them into use on a job. And honestly, they were killer. The lathe especially was unreal. Just being able to make those little tools up to be able to get that those bolts aligned and correct through the chassis member. making that tool made things so much easier than trying to guess it and having to slot holes and having a loose fit. Those holes are super tight and super accurate. And even after all that welding, they still went back together, and the bolt, you know, I had to hammer it in, but it went in really nice and snug, which is what I was hoping to achieve. So the lathe and mill, they were awesome. Anyway, I hope you've liked this episode. It is something really different, not something that we've done before. Up until you guys mentioned it in these comments, we've never even seen chassis connectors before. So to build our own, it was a good experience, and I hope you guys have liked it at home. And I hope it was something a little bit different for you guys to appreciate as well too. And something to consider when you're building these little Toranas or small cars. There's not a lot of strength in them, so you got to put strength into them to be able to make them safe and actually make them work continuously. So if you have liked the episode, consider liking and subscribing. And as always, head on over to the website to buy yourself a bunch of merch, stickers, t-shirts, hoodies. It really goes a long way at helping us do what we do here. And until the next episode, whatever that might be, I guess we'll all see you then.
That's going to be stuck in my head all day now. Thank you, Nathan, for that.
What's going to be stuck in your head? Cause we like home ice cream. Yeah, I think I burnt my eyebrow with a bit of weld.
There's a lot of sparks going everywhere today.
If I'm missing half an eyebrow, I don't care.
So my biggest concern is I hope this doesn't hit the wheel.
Not my problem.
There was plenty, I checked it initially.
I've been given the design brief. I make it suit the design brief. I don't look at the ins and outs. You know what I mean?
Let's put it to the people. We just mentioned before that Nathan's bought a new car. What's the guesses? In the comments below. What do we reckon it is?
What do you reckon I bought? This car, sorry to disappoint, is going to replace the Fairlane's duties as drag challenge weapon. So what car is it?
Yeah. Well, let's have a look.
Yeah, let's sit it up there.
No thanks.
Sit it up. Sit it up there. Give me it. Let me see. It's a ship. Amateur hour. Amateur hour. I've got the apprentice helping me back here. Man.
What did he do?
Folded the wrong way.
Here's a question for you. How are we going to drill that hole through? I'll have to drill it through there, won't I?
Yeah.
You've been pretty good drilling the holes today, so...
Don't try to flatter me. Because it's working. Now we need a hole in here. I don't remember the last time I did an episode where I wore earplugs for the entire day.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't look like much, does it?
Nah.
It looks good though, like, it's really hugging these frames in. Like, we got these pretty good now. Like, it all looks...
Oh, it's a warm, tight hug.
Yeah.
It's like a nice hug on a winter's day with a snuggie.
It's like a hug from a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Then you die at the end.
Or big hero.
What are these?
Oh, I deserve that, Daniel.
That's a real big bear
Put
hug.
in an effort on this stupid thing. There's someone that's just magical on a grinder, and he's just an absolute wizard. You know,
What are you talking
I
about?
stepped in right at the end and
You
I
know,
just...
he
Hang on,
did
wait a
3
minute.
times.
Wait a minute. I didn't even use the grinder. I used the lathe, man. But thanks. So, something we need to share with you guys. We all know Loki. Loki's been around now for ever since Hackshop Garage started. And he's an old boy now. He's coming on to 8 in about a week's time. But we have someone else that you got to meet now. So, this is Buck, the newest member to Hackshop Garage. And Buck is a black golden retriever cross lab, just like Loki. And yeah, he is 9 weeks old and he arrived here last night. So he's settling in, and already he seems to like the shed more than Loki does. So everyone, meet Buck. Buck, meet everyone. Hopefully the new shed dog, because Loki's got no interest in being in the shed anymore. Do you, bud? No. Go on, Buck.